Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is August 21st. Had to double check, but chilling here with Lammy Chillmeister, my co-host. Today's gonna just kind of be a laid-back episode. As far as the intro, I've been a little lazy with the Leave the World Behind. I've only been doing it. I think I'm just gonna do it for right now. I'm only gonna do it on days off. Episodes on it. Now, here's the reason why. Kind of a little tiny review of the book. I'm actually enjoying the episodes where I'm doing the little side rabbit holes with maybe a chapter or two after diving into that. And you guys seem to be enjoying those episodes more than strictly the episodes with just chapters of Leave the World Behind with commentary. The series is doing good. But, man, is that book fucking boring, dude. It's like, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna have to pat Barack Obama on the back. If you watch the movie has, like, all these insane, crazy scenes, and like none of those scenes are in the fucking book. The book is like, when it'll get to that scene, you start getting excited as you're reading it because you've seen the movie and you're like, oh, here it comes. And then it doesn't happen. Like the White Lion scene, the boat smashing into the beach. Like, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is like one of the best scenes of the movie. Here we go. And then they just go to the beach, pack up their stuff, and go to Starbucks. And I'm like, wait, what about the boat smashing into the beach and them running for their lives and shit? Like, so I'm struggling through it. We're almost done with it, though. And I am having fun still, but it's a rough read, man. I'm ready for it to be done. It's just, the movie was good, man. The book is just, I don't know. But as far as updates, man, there is a lot of good podcast going on right now. I'm going to talk about podcasts for a little bit. So hopefully you would like that. But if you don't like podcasts, why are you listening to a podcast? Yeah, dude, like I felt like past like 2 weeks have just been dry spells as far as like what I listen to. So I've been catching up on older podcasts that I stopped listening to, like Occult Rejects. I did find a new podcast 2 days ago and I fell in love with it, dude. Like, I'm a huge fan of Tinfoil Hat and Last Podcast on the Left. Those are like my two favorite podcasts of all time. And the reason why is because, dude, I have to have fucking humor with my podcast. Like, I love conspiracy podcasts. Obviously, that's why I started a conspiracy podcast. But like, people try to get me to listen to podcasts, and I just, the whole time I'm like falling asleep because there's no dick jokes, there's no tranny jokes, I need jokes, man. And they'll send me the most boring shit, like I don't know, here's an example. I'm not shitting on the dude, but I'm gonna shit on the dude. Like, I don't know, like, hey, go check out this Dan Bongino podcast about the Secret Service. And I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to it. Like, he might put out good info, but it's just, I don't want to be bored to death. I feel like when I listen to Sam Tripoli or Last Podcast on the Left, like, I'm learning conspiracy shit or paranormal or cryptids or whatever, but I'm like laughing too, you know? So there's this new podcast I found called the Brohio Podcast, and it's hilarious. It's just raunchy humor, but they cover conspiracies, cryptozoology, paranormal. So go check them out. Another podcast, I listened to two podcasts today before work. One of them I started last night and finished it today. Actually, as weird as it sounds, like, I grew up listening to Dr. Phil. I used to watch Dr. Phil after school. Dr. Phil and Ellen DeGeneres. I know. This is before I knew that she was a creep and a scumbag, but I was a kid. I used to love watching Dr. Phil with my mom. That was kind of one of our little bonding things. He has a podcast called Fill in the Blanks. And I'm not gonna lie, dude, Dr. Phil he's kind of based now, dude. Like, he just, I don't know, I agree with him on a lot of shit. And, he seems cool as fuck. But he had Rudy Giuliani on his most recent episode, which I don't like Rudy Giuliani. I watched a lot of 9/11 conspiracy documentaries back in the day when you could find that type of shit on YouTube, the old shit from like 2012 and shit. And I'm pretty sure he was one of the people behind 9/11. Just saying. And that, and he's a lawyer, so you already know he's like kind of sleazy. He went against the mafia, which I'm not gonna lie, dude, like, I have no beefs with the mafia. Which you guys know I'm a little bit of a jailbird. I used to be a little bit of a criminal. I've delved into what I used to do, like criminally and shit. You know, you got to do what you got to do to survive. I got a little tiny bit of gangster in me, you know. I get it from my dad. The Williams family is a crime family. They used to run a little town in Michigan called Watervliet, Michigan. We literally ran the town. We were like the mafia of that town. I ain't got no beefs with the mafia. Like, from what I've heard, they keep the streets clean. You pay for protection. They protect your businesses. They don't put up with drugs. So if there's drug shit going on in their turf, they take care of that shit. They keep their streets clean. If there's pedophiles, they take care of them. You know, if you need a favor, they'll take care of it. Now, they might call you up at 3 a.m. asking you to do them a favor. You have to return the favor, which is why I've never asked the mafia for any favors. But yeah. So, like, people are like, oh, Rudy Giuliani took down the mafia. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't think that's cool. I have no beefs with the mafia. I'm not pro-mafia, but I'm not against the mafia either. The mafia is just the mafia. I have no beefs with him. But, I don't know. He's just kind of sleazy. I'm not big on him. They did do, like, a little sneak peek, though, of, I guess, I didn't know that Rudy Giuliani, they're going to do a part 2, because Dr. Phil usually does about 40-minute segments. He does their interviews in segments, so it's kind of cool. It's digestible. He's still got that TV mentality in him of, like, yeah, like being in segments and shit, and like 40 minutes, that's the length we're doing, you know, which I have no problem with. I keep my episodes within 30 minutes because as a content creator, you can see how long people watch shit. I mean, this aggravates me a little bit because as a content creator, a podcaster, it's like my channel name says podcast in the channel name. Every episode is going to be 30 minutes or longer. Once in a blue moon, it'll be like 25 minutes, somewhere in there. But why would you click on a podcast and listen to a podcast if you're not willing to just chill, sit back, listen, maybe do something else, maybe work, listen to it while you're working, listen to it while you're cleaning house? Like, you should expect a long form content. It drives me nuts. So like I keep my episodes, I try to, within 30 minutes. That way it's just comprised, it's nice, it's digestible, because sadly, as a content creator, you can see how long people view it, the drop-off points, and people's attention spans are literally fucked. That's why like TikTok does so well, and that's why people do just regular YouTube videos, which is what I started doing. But I love podcasts so much and talk radio that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna switch over to podcasting, and I like this format better. But another reason I just don't like Rudy Giuliani is like Trump, like during the interview with Dr. Phil, he's like, yeah, we were fighting against ballot harvesting and the election fraud and shit. And I'm like, yeah, but you did. But okay, there was a person, and I cannot remember the guest. If you listen to Roseanne Barr and you know the guest, hit me up in the comments. I wish I could give credit to it. But it was a pretty recent episode of Roseanne Barr. And she had someone on who worked with Trump and who apparently is good, like, in the legal department. I can't remember. He might have been a lawyer. And when the election fraud stuff was going on, he literally was in Trump's vicinity and talked to Donald Trump and was like, look, dude, we can actually win this election. Here's what we do. He laid out the plan. This is what we need to do, but we got to act kind of quick. And Giuliani and a couple other people, Trump went to Giuliani and was like, hey, so-and-so said he's got a plan. We need to do this, this, and this, and we can win this election. And Giuliani talked him out of it and said, no, we can't do that. No. And so the guy came back like a month later and he's like, Trump, why haven't you did what I told you to do? And he's like, Giuliani talked me out of it. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, it's too late now. We can't do what I told you to do because it's too late. I told you we had to get this done. And he's like, well, explain it to me again. Like, would it have worked? And he laid it out in layman's terms what the plan was without all the legalese. And Trump's like, oh man, I guess we could have did that. This is why I say, dude, like, I feel kind of bad for Trump. I voted for Trump when he ran the second time, the stolen election. And he surrounded himself with fucking swamp people. I cannot tell you how many people who I've listened to interviews, at least 2 or 3 people who have worked in Trump's cabinet and was in his inner circle and who were just telling me of like corrupt shit of how he was surrounded by literal swamp people who were fucking him over and sabotaging him. And then he would fire them and hire him, someone else and replace them. And that person would be a swamp person. Like, that's like, it literally, I hate to sound like a conservative MAGA Q-tard, but like, it's hard to drain the fucking swamp when like everyone's a fucking swamp person, dude. But yeah, I don't like Giuliani. I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. He's a fucking lawyer. And people can say, well, you're pro RFK, you know, like you're voting RFK. He's a lawyer too. And well, I've also said 1,000 times on this channel, don't trust anyone. I don't trust anyone. And I suggest to you, don't trust anyone. But yeah, I'm listening to that. There was a good interview with him and Theo Von, Donald Trump and Theo Von. I listened to that. It was a shorter one. Theo Von usually does like 1.5 hour interviews. This was only like 40 minutes, but easy and digestible. And they got into something that, I'd always heard that Trump never drinks or smokes, but I never knew why. And this was probably my favorite part of the interview with Theo Von and Donald Trump. So go check that interview out. It's actually a really good fucking interview. Because like I said, I mean, I talk shit on Trump, but I also told you I used to be a Trump supporter. And I told you if RFK drops out, I'm back on the Trump train. I don't have TDS as much as people want to say I have TDS. But it definitely, I liked the way the interview was with Theo Von, because there was a little bit of politics in there. They did talk some politics. They did talk the border. But I'd always heard that Trump was straight edge. And they get into his brother. I think it was like, his brother's name was like John or Bob Trump. No, it wasn't Bob. I don't know. Watch the episode. His older brother. And I guess his older brother was like a really bad alcoholic. I didn't know any of this shit. So I was like, oh shit. Because Trump had never, as far as I know, has never talked about this shit on why he doesn't drink or smoke. But he said that his older brother was an alcoholic. He was a chain smoker, and it ended up like killing him in the end. He used to be like a really good plane pilot, and because of his alcoholism, he had to stop flying and stop teaching people how to fly planes. And he said that he would get sick, I'm guessing from alcoholism, like something psoriasis. I know when I'm an alcoholic. I've told you guys that before. I used to be super bad on it. And, yeah, I mean, there's points where I physically was close to death, like shitting blood and shitting black tar and losing weight. Everyone thought I had cancer because they didn't know that I was drinking myself to death. But he said, like, that would happen to his brother, like, off and on. Like, he would be like knocking on death's door, and the whole family would be like, man, he's gonna die. And then he'd straighten up, get sober, clean up, and then go right back to it. Like, he said this happened like 3 or 4 times. And he said that his brother just always said to him, like, every time they'd hang out, he'd be like, don't ever drink, don't ever smoke. And then they got into like Theo Von's recovery and stuff like that, which was really cool. It was a really good episode, man, and it definitely made me see Trump in a different light. It humanized him more, because they were just talking like everyday life shit. I think I needed to hear that, you know, because I forget that there's things I don't like about Trump. I don't hate Trump. I don't hate anyone. I really don't. I used to, but that's something I've been working on this past year. Is, for one, I'm trying not to use the word hate. And I'm trying to not hate, you know. It's hard, and it's something that I'm working on every day. But yeah, that's honestly the podcast that I've been listening to. What's his name? Mr. Gigi. I watched that last night. I didn't feel like podcasting when I got home. He did a review on this movie, The Possession. So this is kind of a little update for the channel. I've actually watched this movie before, and you guys know, if you go back through my library, I haven't done it in forever, but I used to do a lot of paranormal episodes, which I want to get back into that, doing some paranormal episodes and shit. I have a ton, dude. Go check it out. Like, go through my library if you like paranormal. I have probably like at least 50 paranormal episodes. At least. I have like 300 something episodes, so there might even be more. There might be like 75, 100 paranormal episodes. But yeah, this Possession movie was really good. It was like based off a true story about this dude who bought a Dybbuk box from a yard sale and didn't realize it. He just thought it was pretty and like took it home. And I've heard the true story, and I watched the movie, and the movie's awesome. And it's one that I'm going to cover, because I told you guys I'm doing a conspiracy cinema series where I'm going to watch conspiracy movies and or paranormal movies and review them and do a whole podcast episode on it. I was inspired by PsyOp Cinema, so go check out their channel, their podcast. Tell them who sent you, and maybe they'll give me a shout out. So I copied their idea, but it's just a segment, you know. It's not my whole podcast. But yeah, that, and I was like, dude, I've never covered the Dybbuk box. Like, I've covered all sorts of occult items because I used to make occult items. I've covered like pendulums, Ouija boards, tarot cards, Charlie boards. Yeah, dude, I've covered scrying mirrors. I've covered all these occult items and shit. Athame, chalice, witchcraft. But I've never covered the Dybbuk box. So I was like, dude, that's cool. 2 birds, 1 stone. I could cover the Dybbuk box and review the movie, you know? So that's an idea for a future episode. So keep your eye out for that. Let's talk a little inside baseball, and we'll probably wrap it up after there. If not, then we will throw in another subject. So hang on just a second. So, if you're tuning into this podcast, you clearly are a conspiracy theorist. I've said this 1,000 times. Next segment. Sorry, I almost forgot. Lammy likes to chime in after each segment. I've said this 1,000 times. I know I'm a broken record, but you guys have got to get off of YouTube. Because they just added something new. I'm on Rumble. I only have 22 subscribers over there. Please go over to Rumble and subscribe. It works just like YouTube, I promise you. The search engine is... Here's the only thing. This is the only beef I got. The search engine sucks a little bit because when you type in specific episodes that I've made... it won't pop up. But if you type in Conspiracy Corner Podcast, my profile picture's a little bunny. Go over there and subscribe to me, man, because YouTube, there is gonna come a day when, like, no one's on fucking YouTube, or it's just, if you want conspiracy, you've got to go over to other platforms like Rumble, Spotify, BitTube, BitChute. I know it's not as good, but if you want the truth and you want conspiracies, that's where you're going to have to go. And I keep reiterating it. Also, if you go on Rumble, I have it all scheduled and lined up. It's every day there's going to be a new episode on there. I started from episode 1, so it's going through all of my banked episodes. You'll get to see old shit that I put out from years ago. And it's not all news related either. There's a lot of timeless episodes on there, like paranormal accounts, paranormal stories. We cover older conspiracy shit like Operation Fishbowl, classic conspiracies. So go check that shit out. But YouTube has a new feature, and they've been having content creators. Of course, they're all like mainstream liberal idiots. Their new feature is called New Community Notes feature. So what this is I'm going to explain it to you in layman's terms. Do you know how, on a lot of my videos, because I cover conspiracy, do you know how there's that little tag, a little warning at the bottom of my videos if you're watching on YouTube or listening on YouTube? And it says, let's say I'm covering the vaccine. It'll have a link to Wikipedia, which we know is run by the CIA. And it'll say, for vaccine hesitancy information, go to Wikipedia, check out this article. Fact checking. This feature is basically allowing trusted content creators to now do YouTube's job, because apparently the AI is not as good as we think it is, which is good news, but it's not picking up everything. And I think a lot of this has to do with people speaking in code, which I used to do it before I got on Rumble, before I got on Spotify, before I started getting on other websites. I used to speak in code. And once I started my Rumble account and I started getting paid for that, and Rumble became my employer, I was like, fuck YouTube. I'm done speaking in code. I've completely stopped speaking in code. But I think that the AI system is not picking up on the code, you know, because I was using code back in the day during the pandemic of like, I would say snake bite instead of vaccine, or mosquito bite, or jibber jab, or, you know what I'm saying? We all had to speak in code. Beer bug. When I was talking about the virus, I would say beer bug, you know? Get it? Corona, beer, bug, it's a virus. So I think what they're doing is using blue pill content creators to basically keep tabs on conspiracy shit. And because the AI is not picking it up. So now, here's how it works. Because by the way, I got all this information from The Quartering, so go check him out. I always shout out where I get my info. Tell him who sent you. Maybe he'll give me a shout out one day. If you go check him out and sub to him and shit. He puts out a lot of good info. What was I saying? Here's the procedure though. So if you are a content creator, you can apply to be a fact checker. And basically, they put you on a waiting list and they examine your channel to see if you're qualified to be a fact checker. Basically, how indoctrinated you are, or how quote unquote smart and intelligent you are, educated. It's Orwellian. So they're getting us to police ourselves. Kind of like what they did with COVID. Of like, rat on your neighbor. If you see your neighbor having a party with more than 5 people, rat on them. Call the police. This is Nazi Germany type shit, man. Tricking the Jews to turn themselves in. Like, what was it? George Soros, who was a Jew who turned in the other Jews, you know, for protection and shit as a child, said it was one of his most fondest memories, happiest times of his life, he said. Evil bastard. But they're getting us to police ourselves. This platform, this is my theory, dude, and this is a conspiracy, but it has to be funded by the fucking CIA or the Pentagon, military, DARPA, something. There is no way that you would run a business like this, of literally pissing off your employees. And you know it's bad when blue pill content creators, like reaction channels, dude, a blue pill content creator that I subbed to and used to watch was MXR Plays. This sweet little young Asian couple. They were like 20 years old, an Asian man and an Asian woman. And they would just review like videos. They would review just fun blue pill shit. They got kicked off, deleted completely, and kicked off of YouTube. I'm like, what the fuck? MXR Plays got deleted from YouTube? Like, they're the most blue pill, happy-go-lucky, coolest fucking content creators as far as, like, just bubblegum for the brain type of content, dude. Like, I watched them when I needed to blue pill, and because, yes, I blue pill. It's good for you to not be a conspiracy theorist 100% of the day. It's not healthy. So I would watch them and go to sleep to it and shit. You know, I sleep with the TV on, you know. I'm scared of the dark and I don't like silence. Go check out my demonic experience where I seen a demon face to face. That's why I'm scared of the dark, and that's why I'm scared of silence and terrified of closets. But yeah, there was this dude, Michelle Ramen, and I kid you not, that's his last name, Ramen. I'm not being racist either. I'm just literally telling you like that his last name is literally Ramen. It's spelled Rahman. Like, it's not a joke. I'm not making a dot head joke or something. Which, look, I got a dot head too. You see? Literally, I have a dot on my head. It just appeared one day. It's my third eye opening. He's like celebrating it. Like, I'm so excited. You know, this is good news. This is great because there's so many liars on YouTube and I can't wait to do this. And I signed up. They used me as a guinea pig for this new program. Disgusting shit, dude. Disgusting shit. So, we've got to get off YouTube, guys. We've got to get off YouTube. I'm just telling you. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. So, we got a little podcast review, a little podcast talk. And I just wanted to tell you YouTube's new feature. We're going to apparently be policing ourselves and shit. So, fun. Y'all have a good day. Lammy, tell him goodbye. I love y'all. Catch y'all later.